Good morning. Welcome back. Republicans are campaigning hard for conservative candidates in Georgia. The January runoff set to determine if the GOP can keep their Senate control.
Joining us now live to discuss, Georgia Congressman Doug Collins. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How are y'all?
Morning.
So you know Georgia better than anyone else. What is your sense of these two all-important races? How do you think things are going to play out in the end?
I think they're going to play out the way that Dave Perdue and Senator Leffler want them to, and that is that they're going to make a stark contrast between where we're headed as a country and what would happen if we lost these two seats in the Republican column. There's a stark choice here. Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are out of step with the country, much less Georgia, in their views that would push us toward government control of health care, toward a radical climate agenda. These are the kind of things that are going to be very much on display here in the next 50 days or so. And I think what's going to happen in Georgia is you're going to see Georgia, which is a conservative-leaning state, is going to vote for Senators Perdue and Leffler.
Let's take a look at this figure here. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has raised more than $370,000 for the Georgia Senate runoffs. This is a grassroots organizing effort here, and this was overnight, by the way. Lindsey Graham was on Fox and Friends yesterday saying he will transfer $1 million from his campaign to those of Leffler and Perdue. What do you make of the amount of money being spent on Georgia on these two races?
It ought to let all Georgians know how important and how important this race is for them to turn out. This is no time from our perspective, for conservatives to stay home. This is no time for Republicans to stay home. This is no time for us to take this lightly or take this for granted. This is truly about the control of the Senate with having Chuck Schumer in charge. That's not something that's tenable for somebody like myself who has fought against the left and the Democrats for years now concerning some of these agenda items. This is just not something that's tenable. So I think what it does is focuses the fact that everybody does need to get out, and it's how important it is. If the Democrats say this is not important, or anybody believes it's not important, just look at the money being poured into here.
Yeah, Georgians should feel very honored right now because all eyes are on them, to say the least. Moving on to the presidential election, you were chosen to lead the Trump campaign's recount team, and all of those votes are now going to be hand counted, all 5 million of them. When all is said and done, how confident are you that the results will be accurate?
I believe that they will, because for the first time in Georgia, we're having an actual hand ballot recount. This is an important first step. This lets us know that the accuracy of our integrity of our voting system is there. This is about every legal vote. This is about casting out those that are illegal votes, because remember, ladies, this morning, it's always a forgotten fact that every illegal vote suppresses a legal vote. That's why we got to get to the bottom of this. Now, this is not the only thing we're doing. We're continuing to look at issues of signature matches, issues of other election issues that went on during this time. But this is a good step forward so that we can make sure the integrity of our elections is solid.
You know, I'm curious your opinion on the same question I asked Vernon Jones a few minutes ago, if you're able to listen to that. I asked him, you know, look, Georgia has historically been red, right? And the election, everything that's happening right now, the ballots are going to be recounted. We will continue to follow up and until those results come out from the recount. But, you know, your overall sense of what it means that this election in Georgia is so close this year in 2020, does that give Republicans a sense that you need to, you know, rethink what's happening in that state?
Well, I think Vernon Jones is a great fighter. He's talked about the reasons that President Trump did so well with minority voters. I think those were just common sense values. I think what it does for Republicans is to remind us that we can't take elections lightly, that we have to be out organizing. We have to be out registering voters. We have to be actually taking people and making sure they have access to go to the polls, do those kind of things. Look, Georgia has always been a relatively close state. We're always a conservative right state, but we've never been a state in which Republicans won statewide by 20 and 30 points. We've never done that. We've always been in a 10-point range, 55, 50, 45, those are even less in the last few years. It just reminds us that every election is important, not just a presidential year. And that's what we got to focus on here in Georgia, that these, if we want our values to continue, if we want Georgia to stay the best place that we know to do business, which was just named again, we've got to actually be out there voting.
Yeah. We're running out of time here, but I really want to ask you if you've spoken to the president, and if so, how he's feeling right now.
The president's upbeat. He's still looking and exploring his legal options. He is focused on making sure that every legal vote counts. And that's the important part about this, is we focus on making sure that people are trusting the integrity of the system, because it's not just for this election, it's for the elections to come as well. And he's focused on that.
5 seconds. How long do you think this recount will take? What's your expectation?
Probably, I'd say 3 to 5 days, depending on how long it goes.
Okay. Congressman Doug Collins, thank you.
Busy people in Georgia. Thank you so much.